Hi, welcome to week 44 of Foundation 52. And this week, we're talking about one of my favorite topics ever. We are talking about building high performing teams. I love this topic because there are so many things that you can do to build a high performing team, and high performing teams are going to catapult your business like out of the stratosphere. And I don't even feel like I'm being dramatic with that. High performing teams are honestly earmuffs for kids. They're the shit. Okay, so let's talk about how you can build high performing teams. And we're just going to really focus in on one very specific area. So you've heard us talk in other weeks about annual goal planning. We've talked about, making strategic business decisions. We've talked about annual strategic planning. Now we're going to take that annual strategic plan and we are going to decompose it to help build high performing teams. Here's what I mean. If you sit down and you create your vision for the entire year of everything that you want to accomplish, the revenue targets you want to hit, the new technology you want to introduce, the new products or services that you want to create and bring to the marketplace, the new ways you want to market, the new ways you want to sell, whatever it is, all the things that are listed in your annual strategic plan, you're going to decompose those into quarterly goals and give them to your team. They're going to carry out the mission of your strategic plan, and they're going to learn, they're going to grow, they're going to build your business, and they're going to work together. And man, you are going to watch it and you're going to be amazed. So when I do goal setting with my team and I'm working on building a high performing team, I always insist that there are 3 types of goals that they have to have, and then they can take 2 or 3 extra goals. So everyone has a leadership goal. And the leadership goals, honestly, it could be leading a project. It could be leading something as simple as the annual holiday party, and they're the person who has to make the plan for the holiday party. It could be leading a big initiative for the organization, but just one piece of it, because you really don't want your goals to stretch out more than a quarter. You want them to be a quarter long. That way everybody gets to do different things. It keeps them engaged and it puts a sense of urgency to everything that you're doing. So when we're building out these goals, the first type that we want to have is a leadership goal. Then you want to think about mutual learning. And this really plays into your career path for your employees, right? So if you have a mutual learning goal, that means that every person on your team has to teach someone else something, and every person on your team has to learn something new. A great example, project management. So not everybody has project management skills, but maybe 1 or 2 people on your team do. So for 1 quarter, maybe their goal is they are teaching 3 or 4 other people on your team how to do project management. So the mutual learning is I've got 1 person teaching it, and I've got 3 or 4 people learning it, and everybody's improving their skills. You improve your skills so much, not only in the actual activity that you're teaching, but also as a leader and as a trainer. And you want to know when you're building out your team that you've got people on your team who can train. So mutual learning goals are huge. They're one of my favorite things to do. And I cannot emphasize enough how much you're going to benefit your team if you insist on leadership and mutual learning goals. So remember, everybody leads something, everybody teaches something, everybody learns something. And then they can take 1 or 2 other goals that maybe they're just participating. So you've got a goal that you are going to implement a new sales process, and you've got somebody who's leading that effort and creating the sales process, but maybe someone else on the team is just participating and helping to identify the gaps or is documenting the process. It doesn't really matter. Keep people engaged. Some goals might only take 1 person to do, though, so just keep that in mind. But you start with your annual strategy, you decompose it into quarterly chunks, and then you assign those chunks out. Or actually, rather than assigning those chunks out, I'm going to take that back. Pretend I didn't say that. You are going to let the team pick the goals they want. So involve them, engage them in the process. And maybe if you're working on the quarters, so let's say that you're working on quarter 2, just as an example. So your April through June goals, you're going to start the process for picking out the goals at the beginning of March. So it gives you like 30 days to get everything squared away. And then at the end of the quarter, you're going to review with them, see how they did. And sometimes they're not going to finish the goal, or sometimes they're not going to finish it successfully. That happens, and that's okay. Then you just have to make a decision. Do I let them continue the goal for a couple more weeks till it's finished, or do we hand it off to somebody else and give someone else a chance to do it? And that's entirely up to you. But the important part here is you've got this big, huge annual strategy. And now your team is helping you execute it. And while your team is helping you execute it, they're improving skills everywhere. They're learning new things. They're teaching new things. They're improving their leadership skills, and they're executing, and it's making your business better. And everybody loves it. They're engaged. And I know, like, typically in corporate America, people hate the goal setting process. They hate this annual thing. But I'm telling you, this process, people love it because they're picking their own goals. They're picking it based on things that already have been defined to make a big difference for the business, and they're having an impact. And it also gives them an opportunity at some point to advance their career. So I'm telling you, take advantage of it. There's a PDF for you to take a look at, and just try and implement this process. If you have questions, do not hesitate to reach out. This is one of my favorite things. I'm super passionate about it, and I will help you in any way that I possibly can. Thanks. See you next week.